Good afternoon, basic people. Welcome to the People's Basics. Today is Monday, May 3rd, and today on the program, we're going to be covering a story from the recent New York City mayoral race, allegations that are currently facing Scott Stringer in regards to, sexual assault accusations that have been levied against him by one Gene Kim. But before we get into today's topic, I wanted to just make a couple disclosures and make some plugs. Please make sure, as always, if you enjoy the content that we're doing, please make sure you hit that subscribe button because we're trying to hit our goals of subscriber counts. Our next reward for you, our viewers, is going to be coming at 2,000 viewers or 2,000 subscribers when we can actually get out. We're going to do a little karaoke, but we'll try and have you all hit that goal, and we'll see when that video comes out. And as always, also help us boost these videos with a like as well. That being said, I also want to make a disclosure. I don't normally wear this hat, but I'm wearing this today because I want to acknowledge before we cover this, allegations that I'm disclosing again, that we here at the network and I myself am a supporter of Andrew Yang. And I think that's important given some of the, criticisms that his campaign have made against Gene Kim in regards to potential affiliation with the Yang campaign that motivated her to do that. We wanted to disclose up front when we're doing this that we are supportive. And, the reason we are doing this coverage is because we do think it is important for us to really hear the whole picture of this, for us to be properly informed on the New York City mayoral race. So, what is the allegation? As I mentioned before, Gene Kim, a lobbyist who, alleges that while she was working as an unpaid intern for Scott Stringer in 2001, when he was, running for public advocate, Scott, quote, inappropriately and relentlessly pursued a sexual relationship with me. He, quote, kissed me using his tongue, put his hands down my pants, and groped me inside my underpants, end quote. Again, she then follows up and says, when we were traveling together in taxis to and from campaign events, he repeatedly put his hands on my thighs and between my legs. He asked me on more than one occasion, why won't you fuck me? This also is alleged that he was doing blackmail, according to Gene Kim, where she says, quote, I can make you the first Asian district leader on the Upper West Side. This is what she said Scott Stringer had said to her. Gene also follows up and says, quote, when I asked what steps I would need to take, Scott Stringer responded, quote, you would have to prove yourself to me. The reason that she decided to now come forward after these events occurred in 2001, she decided to come forward 20 years later because, quote, I have tried to put my best to put this chapter of my life behind me and forget about it all and move forward with my life. But I am coming forward now because being forced to see Stringer in my living room TV every day, pretending to be a champion for women's rights, just sickens me when I know the truth. They also follow up from her lawyer saying that because she is leaving politics as a lobbyist, she now feels less potential threat from retribution. And so what was Scott Stringer's response to these allegations being made against him by Gene Kim? He first goes on to say it's false, it's inaccurate, and that, quote, sexual harassment is unacceptable. He follows that up by saying, quote, I believe women have the right and should be encouraged to come forward. They must be heard, but this isn't me. I didn't do this. I am going to fight for the truth because these allegations are false. He follows it up by saying, quote, I understand that this is a difficult moment for my supporters, and I know that some of them will feel compelled to withdraw their endorsement of my candidacy. This campaign was always going to be about the people. I've received a lot of support to campaign stops over the last 2 days, and I'm going to be campaigning in every neighborhood in every borough for the next 2 months. So it doesn't seem like he has, at least at this point, and this was when he was first reacting to the statement made roughly 5 days ago, these were his responses to that. He follows up by trying to emphasize that at the time he alleges that they were having a consensual relationship that lasted several months. And some of the reason why this has also drawn some criticism of potential hypocrisy is, most recently in this spring, he has been making statements against one Andrew Cuomo, who is the governor, who has, allegations of sexual harassment against himself from several people who worked within his office. So he had a zero tolerance policy beforehand. And Scott's response to this kind of question of hypocrisy is he says, quote, "The allegations against Governor Cuomo are serious and multiple, and they are in the workplace. I don't think we are in the same situation." And so, beyond this, they try to raise some questions around the legitimacy of the claim. Some of the things that they try to claim delegitimizes Jean Kim's, allegations against Scott Stringer include one, the notion that she was responsible for helping circulate ballot petitions for multiple candidates, one of which featured a candidate who is one of Scott Stringer's opponents in Andrew Yang. Jean Kim's team responded to that criticism by saying, quote, "I do not work and have never worked for the Andrew Yang campaign. I've never met him, and I have not decided who my choice is for mayor of New York City. I have collected ballot signatures for multiple political candidates in different races. And while I am focused on new and very different career options at this time, I am still quite active in my community." The next thing that Scott's team is trying to bring forward as criticisms of the allegation is that Jean Kim had made donations to Scott Stringer in 2013 totaling $100, as well as $310 in 2009. They bring this up because the allegations are that this event had occurred in 2001, so that these donations seem potentially strange coming after those dates. They also allege that she had applied for a job on Scott Stringer's campaign for the New York City comptroller's race in 2013. And then when they were not able to offer her a job, she then decided to work for their opponent's campaign in Elliot Spitzer and did not raise any allegations at that time. Jean Kim's lawyer responds to that criticism by saying that this was simply part of Jean Kim's work as a lobbyist to be making those donations to Scott's campaign at that point. That's a whole other different can of worms about lobbying and its campaign finance implications that we won't touch today. And then the last allegation that they try to bring forward to try and discredit the allegations against Scott is that they quote this thesis that Jean Kim had written while pursuing her master's degree at CUNY University entitled, quote, "Women and Their Struggles to Be Considered Funny, as Told Through the Study of Female Stand-Up Comics," that included a quote within it saying, quote, "Fortunately, I have no stories about comics who flash themselves in front of me or of sexual groping episodes." I don't think that's a particularly great piece of criticism against her at all because she's speaking specifically to comics. But those are the ways that they have been trying to undermine her campaign to make this accusation against Scott. Others, however, have taken kind of an opposite approach to try and follow up and back up Jean Kim's statement about the vindictive nature of Scott Stringer when it comes to allegations being made against him. Two notable people who had come forward was Ben Kallos, alleging that Scott Stringer engaged in a bullying campaign when he led forward with campaign finance reform of legislation that would make it possible to run for office in New York City by taking only small dollar donations matched by the city. And then the other was by Marty Speranza Wong, who alleged that, she was being bullied for suggesting to her 100-member Democratic club, that she was, wanting to have some discussions around the hypocrisy and, potential, problems facing the Democratic Party. And in that email, it included a reference to Scott Stringer endorsing a GEO group lobbyist. For those who don't know what that is, GEO group, advocates for the building of new real estate regarding, illegal immigrant detention centers. So they are trying to establish this behavior that someone can be a vindictive person and try to seek revenge on someone for these allegations, which is why they're currently looking to discredit her. So, what has been the reaction from the rest of the field? The rest of the field has had, pretty much a widespread, standing in solidarity with Jean Kim, all of the campaigns making statements on that regard. But then we've had some of the campaigns take it a step further and go to allege that, Scott Stringer should drop out. Of the candidates, Maya Wiley, Catherine Garcia, Sean Donovan, and Diane Morales have all called for Scott Stringer to drop out. Furthermore, when it comes to the reactions from Scott's own camp regarding these allegations, there was a massive amount of endorsements that were rescinded from those within his camp. We had people like Congressman Jamal Bowman. We have state senators like Alessandra Biaggi, Julia Salazar, Gustavo Rivera, Jessica Ramos, and Jabari Brisport. We have Assemblywomen Yulene New, Catalina Cruz, and Nili Rosick. We have Councilman Jimmy Von Bramer. We have Public Defender Eliza Orlins. And we have some major organizations like the Working Families Party, the United Federation of Teachers, as well as the Sunrise Movement of New York City. So, there's clearly some loss of a base that, Scott has been trying to build up in this race when he tried to pivot into a more left-leaning progressive direction. But it does seem like at this time that Scott Stringer has no plans of at least dropping out yet. He has a pretty large war chest in total of what he's built up. And so he is going to try to rebound in the race, but I think he is going to probably struggle to be able to do so. And so I do think that this is going to have some major implications on the horse race stuff. But I don't want to dive too deeply into this because I think that the focus shouldn't be on the horse race of it all. It should be on the fact that someone is coming forward alleging sexual harassment and sexual assault from a city official who is the current New York City comptroller in office, and that the current approach is trying to discredit these attacks. I think there is a need for further investigation into this matter so that more people can be informed on what their current representation is in New York City and demand accountability as necessary. Scott has every right to continue running his race, as do voters, and other campaigns have the right to criticize him for his conduct. So with that being said, we want to ask people to try to focus, at least for now, while these investigations are coming out, in trying to be supportive to victims and survivors who have gone through sexual assault as well as blackmail to be silenced, trying to focus on how we can build up the advocacy case so that these things don't happen any further, whether or not Scott Stringer becomes mayor or unlikely does. We need to be addressing the root cause that politicians are abusing their power and that the weight of having these offices allows them to silence victims for years at a time. We need to be able to have this fixed so that we stop having so much mistrust of complete political motivation when people decide to come forward decades later because they felt during their time in their career, they could not speak their honest truth about what they believe had occurred to them. Whether or not you believe the notion that these allegations are true or false, I think we can all recognize that this is still a problem that is endemic to politics and needs substantial overhaul. So that being said, I want to express again my solidarity for Gene Kim in trying to come forward. I know bringing forward allegations are never easy. So we want to, thank you for actually coming forward and telling what you believe happened in your time with Scott Stringer in 2001. So that being said, everyone, I want to thank you all for joining us today here on the program at the People's Basics. We will be looking to come out with new content every day, Monday through Friday. So please tune back in on, roughly tomorrow. We'll be here either 2 to 3 p.m. It depends on how long sometimes the editing process happens if we have stuff come open. But it's always between 2 to 3 p.m. because we want to hit you all during your lunch break so that you can come learn a little bit more about our movement for the Universal Basics. And in this case, we've only made one endorsement as an organization in this race. It's been towards Andrew Yang. And so in turn, we have been doing a little bit more coverage of the New York City mayoral race as well. So please tune in, subscribe so that you're always notified when a new video comes out. Check the description section if you're watching this currently on YouTube or Facebook to get our Linktree link to be able to join us, find all of our content, and join all of our communities, and even sign up to come on our show too. We'll be having our next, uh, Commoners Corner segment where we interview you all, the members of our community, on Thursday, where we're going to be talking to a police abolitionist. We like to talk to all types of people of all different types of backgrounds. So please, we encourage you all to come on. So that being said, my friends, this will do it for another episode at the People's Basics. I hope you all, as always, are having a great day as always. And, frankly, I hope you stay classy out there, my